Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning in for the Zoom meeting that we have with Liz Woolsey, who is now the superhero of landlords. That's what you're getting, right, Liz?
A little bit, yeah.
So,
like the Queen Liz too, you know, being British background.
well, we wanted to come on through StreamYard. We were just having some technical difficulties with the audio. So we jumped on to Zoom and finally we got the audio and the video and we're here to rock it. We've sent out a link a little bit late for everybody. So if you're just tuning in, we're going to have everything recorded, put it up on our YouTube channel, as well as shared into the Ontario Landlords Watch Facebook group and to our Ontario Landlords Watch Facebook page. Tonight, to the left of me, I have Darlene, who has been right there beside me fighting our elected officials. We're getting paperwork, we're getting our solutions to the elected officials. And then if you see on the screen, we have Liz, who has literally have a picture that went on Facebook that went viral. It literally went viral. Like there's so many people want something viral, and this picture has been going crazy across every platform. And I'm gonna see if I can do a screen share. So just bear with me. So I wanna be able to show this photo. So if anyone's watching the video later on, you're gonna be able to see it. So we're gonna see if we can do a quick share screen. We got lots, everything on the go here. So we're gonna share this one. And so we have our Ontario Landlords Watch Facebook group. If you're not a part of it, join it. It's Ontario Landlords Watch members. Just put your request in to join, say where you found us, and we're going to be able to get you in to the group so that we can keep you up to date on what's happening with the changes that are happening with the Residential and Tenancy Act, the Landlord and Tenant Board, because lots of things have changed now since COVID, and we also have a lot of things happening now with the Attorney General. So you see all my personal photos there, but if everyone can see, this is the photo that is going viral. So we have, you can see his name there, but he owes 13 months of rent, $16,250, and Liz had put it up there saying, Premier Doug Ford, please help Ontario landlords with tenants who refuse to pay rent. And this has moved us so much because I think we've all wanted to do it. We just never did it. But it's going to come down to why we have Liz here today is how did she do this? Why did she do this? But first, I want to talk to Liz about who she is, because she's getting a lot of hate from a lot of tenant activist groups. And in reality, this is something that it's theft, and she wanted to come out and she wanted to share this situation that she's experiencing, as well as many other landlords that are out there. And I want you guys to really get to know her before the tenants want to come out and bash her. So let's jump right into speaking with Liz. Thank you so much, Liz, for coming on. Like we finally got on, we got your audio, we got your video. Now, please tell us, where have you been? Like, tell us your journey. First, when did you get into real estate?
92.
And what did you do for jobs? Like, tell us what you've done for your career. Like, do you have kids? Do you have a husband? Like, we want to get to know you.
Okay, so I'll try to give it to you as quickly as I can. 24 years old, flew to Jamaica, met a guy on the beach, married him 2 months later, had a baby down there, stayed there for a couple of years, came up to Canada, had twins, left. Well, the marriage broke up 2 years later. So I'm a single mom with 3 kids, although my ex-husband, Pete, great guy, like paid support, helped out, took the kids every weekend so that I could, you know, work. I was working in bars and whatnot. Anyway, I got a job bartending 6 to 7 shifts a week, probably. Did not spend a penny on anything, saved my money. I didn't buy a lipstick. I didn't buy a takeout coffee. You know how it is. And
you sacrificed.
Back then, I was making about $800 a week, probably, with tips and stuff, right? Because I was bartending in a strip club, so good money. I had $20,000 saved. And I bought a little house behind oh my God, out in Scarborough anyway, behind the one of the subway stations. It was little 70 detached bungalow with a basement apartment for $152,000. I know everybody's like, ah, it was so cheap back then. Things had really dropped. I don't know if you remember, but in the late 80s, things were going crazy. And then in 90, 91, 92, 93, like it just crashed, right? So bought this house, rented out the basement to a couple of guys, which kind of paid my mortgage. 7 years later, I sold that place, moved to Peterborough, because I didn't want my kids going to high school in Toronto. It was where we lived. It wasn't good. So bought a place in Peterborough. In the meantime, I started a business. I ended up buying a place in town. I bought out in the country and then came into town. Started a business doing a magazine, then a distribution company. I started exhibiting at some consumer shows. Then I started my own consumer shows. For you people in Toronto or Ottawa that are listening, you might remember Sexapalooza. That was my show. Anyway.
You were on Dragon's Den?
Yeah, I did Dragon's Den, yeah, as well. Anyway, I was having lunch with a friend who had owned a number of travel agencies, and he had been offered the buildings in them, and he owned 4 of them in like Peterborough and around Peterborough, like Coburg, Port Terry, you know, like within like an hour and a half kind of thing. He never bought any of the buildings. Over lunch, and he was saying I should have, because he'd sold all of his businesses, and now here he is retired and no income. So I actually left lunch. So that's on Thursday. By Sunday, I had bought this 4-plex. Anyway, so I moved my business into here downstairs. Upstairs, there's 2 residential units, and the main floor was 2 commercial. And I had my business down there for about, up until about 4 years ago.
Nice.
At which time I got sick and the business folded. I sold my house in town. I bought a place on the lake. We changed the offices downstairs into apartments, which I didn't do right away. I used them for storage and this and that, and took my time. So when Sean moved into that apartment, it was brand new. New kitchen, new bathroom, the drop ceiling, of course, got taken down, and fireproof drywall put up, you know, because it had been commercial. So now it's residential. And of course, you know, the codes are different, and I had to bring it up to code. So it was huge. I mean, it's over 700 square feet for a 1-bedroom apartment.
That's a good size. Now, when you picked him as a tenant, what was his application? What did he tell you? What he did for a job? How did he come across that he was going to be a good tenant and good candidate, and that's why you chose him to go into that unit?
He actually came to look at a different unit that was upstairs that I had advertised because it needed some work in it, and I had advertised sort of come fix this up in lieu of rent, which I have since learned is a really bad idea. But I didn't know back then, right? I'd always just had people come and go and not. I don't know, the rental part of the building, that wasn't my main business. My focus was on doing the shows. That was my main business. So if I had a bad tenant up here and I lost a few months rent, oh well. But I never had anybody who did this to me this badly. Anyway, he came and looked at this one and then told me that he had an old dog who couldn't do the stairs. And he said, you have a unit down below. And I said, yeah, it's not quite ready. There's a couple of things. Just basically like some lights had to be put up, and probably like door handles put on, you know, that sort of thing that doesn't impact you using the apartment, but nice to have, right?
Yeah.
So he said that he would prefer that one, even though it was more money. So I said, fine. He filled out the application. I checked his references. I checked who he was working for, which was Adam Simmons here in town, who is a real estate broker, owns his own brokerage, actually just down the street from me. Called Adam, spoke to him. Oh yeah, Sean worked for him. Yep, yeah, he's been working for him for a while. Adam flips houses, and yep, absolutely, he's a good worker, and I'll keep him on, and blah blah blah, which was, I think, BS, or I don't know what happened, but anyway. So he gave me first and last month's rent. I was up in Ennismore at the time. I think I had like, I must have printed up like a lease for him, but of course the address is wrong, so he never did the lease. And stupid me, he paid me first and last month's We must have met like the next day. I can't remember because it was over a year ago, right? Anyway, I came back into town once he had moved in for him to sign the lease, and he wouldn't sign the lease, refused to. And then he started complaining about every little thing in the apartment that had to be fixed.
That's usually the tendency, though. Like sometimes you find when we have landlords that are going on that down path with a professional tenant, the number one thing that they do, they pick on the nitty gritty of things that they want in their unit. It's like there's in reality, like we understand we need to provide a safe and house that has, you know, the bells and whistles and everything's fixed and there's no safety concern whatsoever in that property. But at the same time, there's so many homeowners that go without the little nicks and crannies that people complain about, but that gives them the justification that they don't have to pay rent. But instead, they have other ways of getting that dealt with. If it's through the property standards or it's actually going to be through the landlord and tenant board, they always have that way of doing it. So that's how he started doing that with you, is bringing those maintenance concerns to give the reason why he stopped paying rent.
And he was very nice about it. He was very polite. He was very, I mean, wonderful. And when he moved in, like I could see nice furniture, everything was nice and neat. It wasn't dirty. And give him his due, he has kept the place very clean. If it wasn't for paying the rent, he's like a really good tenant.
Now you've had and he had a hurt situation, and then people would want to say, like, did you not give the N4? Did you not, you know, jump on that on the second of the month? But he had a hardship situation that he told you about, and you were willing to help him. Now, how did you try to help him?
So in August, remember that I live like over half an hour away, which I know people in Toronto and that, like, that's nothing, but here in Peterborough, it seems like it's far.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't come into town every day. And sometimes I come into town and he wasn't here. Anyway, after a couple of weeks and emailing him and texting him, finally got a hold of him, and he said that his father was very sick and he had to be traveling back and forth to see his father and whatnot, and he wasn't even sure if he was going to stay in the apartment. So I felt really bad. Oh my God, his father's really sick. So I said, okay. I said, I'd kind of like to know though, as soon as you know, because I'm going to put an ad up and get somebody else in for the 1st of September, or, you know, let me know if you're going to stay, you know, like work with the man, right? Anyway, it went nowhere. September came, he still didn't pay, still wouldn't give me an answer, said, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm traveling back and forth. You need to give me some more time. I gave him some more time. Then it turned into a matter that my father's going to give me $5,000 and I can catch you all up. And so that was a story for a while. I haven't got that money yet. And that came on and that came on. And then it was a matter, he was getting an inheritance. And I know, bad on me. I was thinking back, I think that I did actually give him the N4 probably in October or something, and then lost my paperwork. So I had to give him another one in December, and then you have to wait a few weeks, right, before you can do the L1. So.
And you've had a tenant that you've had there before as well, and you've helped her out. And she was very grateful about it. She's actually went on to succeed, hasn't she?
Yeah, the young girl. Well, you know, I've got 3 kids. I like to think that other people would help them out, right? So when she came to me and wanted to, actually the apartment that I'm in right now, it's a 2-bedroom. She came to me, she had a little boy, she's single mom, she was going to be going to Fleming. So I dropped the rent by $100 or $150, I can't remember. She was here for like 3 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to watch her little boy once in a while, or she'd drop him downstairs. And remember, my office was right below her, right? So there were times that she would drop him and he would go off, she would go off and do her grocery shopping. Brought her stuff from my garden. It was great.
You're a good landlord.
I'd like to think so.
We would say so. Like that's, you know, sometimes people don't get that, and I think that's what we have to really want to show people, that you are a genuine person who wants to help people, and you've tried to help Sean, and you've listened to his excuses, and you've stretched it out. And yeah, bad on you. You lost your paperwork. This is why it's really important for every landlord to know paperwork.
Yeah.
But after he didn't give you any money of the inheritance that happened, you gave the form, like when did it go south? Like when did you realize that this guy is here to stay, he's not trying to pay? You're obviously going through the board. Let's like, when did you decide that this billboard needs to go up on this property? And just my luck, she freezes. Oh no. Do we have you back, Liz? I think I gotta go to Peterborough. I think I gotta go to Peterborough.
I might be the answer.
Do you want to? Oh, she's back. Let's see what's going on here. So we gotta ask to unmute herself. Okay, hold on. Sorry about this, guys. There we go.
All right.
We got you back. I drive to Peterborough.
I think everybody around here is on Netflix. It's Friday night, so I know it's my internet probably, although I've got a good connection here, but anyway.
Not a problem. So when did you decide, like, he's obviously giving you excuses, he's not trying to pay, he's gonna go ahead and he's gonna ride this until the board is open and the sheriff is gonna come and get him on the door? Like, when did you know that things were going wrong, and when did you decide that the billboard needs to be put up?
Oh, the billboard. Oh, that would have been last month when it occurred to me that he had been living here for free for a full year. And come August 1st, it was going to be going into my second year. Into the second year. And by then I had received a date from the landlord tenant board, which was in June. So in June.
Lovely.
And then of course COVID hit, so now we don't even know. So now here we are in July. I have no idea when I'm going to be going to a hearing. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I'm not quite sure how long it takes. I mean, I learned a lot in the last few days, but I didn't know how long it was going to take after that. So I'm thinking, what the hell? Like, this man's in his 40s and he's going to live here for free for almost 2 years, and I'm supporting him, paying for all of his utilities, everything, and maintaining the building, and he pays nothing. And trust me, his blue box is full of empty beer cans every week.
He's got money. So he's got money. He's either getting income from work, he's getting the CERB benefits, he's just trying to take advantage of the situation, knowing that there's a hold on evictions. No thanks to our elected officials stating that there is an eviction ban. The landlord and tenant board is not processing any applications for evictions at this time. And now he's in there just kind of waiting about. And now, what was his impression when you put this billboard up? Like, what happened there?
Well, it wasn't the first draft. I went through many things, and I was just going to paint it myself. So I was trying to make it as simple as possible, so there was as little painting involved as possible. And then I got thinking, man, I know printers in town. Morgan's one of my best friends. I know Tom at Commercial Press. I can get this done, like, for cheap. So I made it up on, just a little publisher document, and changed it and changed it and changed it until I liked. And then I decided that I would add Premier Doug Ford in, called up Morgan. He was like, yeah. And I was like, just put it on scrap stuff. I don't care. I don't even care if there's anything on the back of it. Just send it through the machine or whatever, right? Which he didn't do. I got brand new Core Plus. And he printed it up for me, and I brought it out here, and Andrew helped me, and I measured out exactly where to put all of the nails so that, the sign would look nice. It was up for about 3 minutes, and Sean came home, and Andrew and I had just come upstairs because he was going to borrow a tool. And as he was leaving, he called me and he said, Mom, call the police. He's up there, hacking away at the sign. So I went down, opened up the door, said, like, what are you doing? And he just started yelling at me, and I'm taking pictures of this, and we're going to end up in court, and rah, rah, rah. And you have to understand.
I don't mean to cut you off. I said through this COVID that what was going to happen is that landlords are going to take the matters into their own hands. And initially I thought maybe some unlawful evictions, maybe some lockouts were actually going to be happening. And then I found out about your post when someone posted it in the group, and my husband he went, Kayla, did you see what was posted in the group? I'm like, do I need to take it down? And he's like, no, you don't. And I was like, I looked at it, I found it absolutely hysterical at the fact that, one, it was there and you actually did it. And number two is that you thanked everybody to help you. And what was so sad though, is that the company that you wanted to thank,
oh my God,
of all these tenants that are probably, they're not even from Canada, giving them nasty reviews and trying to take down his 5-star review and getting it down to his 2-star. And I'm very, very, very thankful.
They did. Yes, he went from like a 5 down to a 2 in no time.
Yeah, it was like, we can't thank you enough for doing it. This is a part that this has got to be a protest. If the tenants can go and they can walk the streets and they can shut down the landlord and tenant board and they can stop paying their rent as a protest, like what are landlords supposed to do when you have people like Sean that is happening all over Ontario, and you're having it all over Canada, but Ontario is the worst for any type of justice for landlords. And this is what we try to do as we advocate for different type of solutions that we're really trying to work that works better for good landlords and good tenants. And we want to penalize the bad landlords and we want to penalize the bad tenants. But sadly, the way that everything is happening is that the government's making us a social service and taking the income, your hard work and dedication into your rental unit and just allowing these tenants to take advantage of a third party. And this is where a lot of people would think like you're just here to protect landlords. Like, no, we're here to create a better system, because in reality, the bad tenants are ruining it, not just for the landlords and good tenants out there, but as a whole, as the whole housing system in itself. So this is why, and the quick question that everyone keeps asking, that I keep getting for you is, has Doug Ford contacted you about this sign?
Okay.
Like,
you guys all know the answer to that. He was in Peterborough a few weeks ago and he's going like, whoo, missed that one. Oh, of course he hasn't.
I think we just gotta, right now it's probably picked up. It's being picked up on every social media platform. You're getting the newspapers now. You were just on an interview with who today?
Global News.
So we're gonna try to get that link put in the group as well, and hopefully on this feed, so that we can kind of let you guys know where you can take a look at what the real story of what they got from Liz. But at the same time, Liz, what would you want to see changed from knowing about the Landlord and Tenant Board and the Residential and Tenancy Act, and understanding there are changes with Bill 184 that's coming? Some people would say like, hey, you know, it's not everything that we want, but hey, at least it's something. Some people says it doesn't help us whatsoever. It needs to be gone back into the drawing board. But in reality, we see that Bill 184 could definitely speed up the process in the evictions for the tenants who are abusing the system versus tenants who are just down on the luck, just can't pay type of deal. But besides Bill 184, what would you want to see change to prevent people like Sean from being able to stay in your property for 13 months without paying rent?
There have been so many people who have contacted me and given me ideas, and I have to tell you that there are two things that really stand out. One is that every tenant should have to have liability insurance, so that if they wreck the place, they've got insurance to cover it, right? And the second thing is that if you do file and it does go to the board, their rent immediately goes into a trust for you if you win. So they have to continue paying rent. If they don't continue paying rent, they leave immediately. But it would work both ways. If they're taking you to the tribunal, again, their rent goes into a trust, and if you win and they don't, you get the rent. And if the tribunal says, okay, yeah, the landlord's been bad and $200 has to go back to the tenant, $200 goes back to the tenant, and the rest goes for your rent. And that...
Oh no, come on. We will get through this interview. Be patient. I'll be patient. 4 kids later, I think I should be patient. Give her a few seconds.
Oh,
there she goes, she's back.
So did you get all that?
Yeah, I got the part with the trust, and that's where there's a lot of solutions kind of coming from with that as well. And the one thing that I like to tune in there is that with Bill 184, they're now collecting data from landlords who are using the N12 and the N13 notices. And now what's happening? Oh, I'm running out of time. We've removed your 40-minute time limit on your group meeting. I'm like, So I don't know how long we're going to be able to we're going to do this again. This is just an introduction to Liz. I really wanted you guys to come out and really get to know her as a person. But the one thing that we want to talk about is that with Bill 184, they're collecting that data of an N12 or an N13 notice, and that's going to be collected. And this is the concept that we want to, if you're going to collect data on landlords who are abusing those forms, there should be a database of tenants who are abusing the N4 form, abusing the system in itself. If you've been to the landlord and tenant board 3 or 4 times, this is where your name should be added into that database where you can show that you're abusing it. And this will prevent people like Sean taking advantage of landlords and keep things fair and trying to keep them balanced. But I don't want it to cut off in a weird position that we're in. We want to try to do this again through a StreamYard. We're going to work on getting Liz and Mike right away so that we can do this and we can go live from the group so we can have a lot more interaction. So stay tuned to that. But Liz, I can't thank you enough for doing what you did. Our members are very thankful because you've put something in place where it's needed. And it's sad to see that his face had to be the name of it, but hey, everyone knows Nina Willis as well, and it went on the chopping block where she's going to have a heck of a time trying to get a rental unit because you've abused so many landlords. And we also like to know that even through making this viral, the old landlord of Sean actually contacted Liz, and he's done the same thing to Liz as well. So he's a repeat offender.
He's a serial bad tenant. And can I take this opportunity to thank everybody in your group, because I received so much hate that the landlord groups that reached out to me through Facebook, it balanced off or more than, because sometimes I would just get overwhelmed. And so I would just pop into your group and get love and be okay. So that made all the difference, because otherwise I might have taken the post down and no one would have known about it.
Well, Liz, I can't thank you enough for tuning in tonight. I can't wait to come to Peterborough to actually be there to do a Facebook Live together as soon as this COVID mess is done, because I don't think anyone wants us to have a mask on. Jason, thank you so much for tuning in. And everyone, if you're tuning in right now, because we got a bunch of people trying to come in right now, we will have this recorded, and we're going to have many more interviews, I think, coming up with Liz, because she's a firecracker and she's someone that we should be thanking. And we'll continue to keep giving our love. And if you're listening as well, please give the company that did this sign some love as well and give them a great review. And if you want to buy any other products from him.
Signorama and Peterborough.
Thank you everyone for watching. Stay tuned to our YouTube channel and our next stream live, StreamYard Live. And again, thank you so much, Liz.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.